Do you think about the future for yourself and what might lie ahead for you?
Since I know what can happen as people go down, I really don't try to spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm afraid of the future because I've seen what Alzheimer's can do. In addition to that, I have the vascular and depression. So I figure I'm in for a rough ride as time goes by, and that's why I'm fearful, I suppose.
It's not directly what you're talking about, but it is to another extent. A couple months ago, she got it in her head that maybe what we should do is sell our condominium here and buy into a building where it also has medical facilities and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I really reacted very negatively towards that and still do today. I would have no problem with it if I felt that there was really something, you know, that would come from it that would be beneficial. I don't see it at all, because one of the things that really helps me is being able to work outside, being able to do these things, so forth. Well, in those kind of buildings, I don't care what they tell you in advance, it doesn't work that way. If I were further along in this the downward trend and so forth, I think I'd probably think differently about it. But at this point, I look at that as something that I can still do, and I do a darn good job with it. And so I don't want to put myself in a position where something that I really still do have a great grasp for, that all of a sudden, you know, well, I don't have it in my life anymore. And I started looking at it and saying, well, you know, I don't see where the only value that I could see would be if I reached a point where I needed constant medication, constant watching over and so forth. Then being in that kind of a facility certainly could make sense, because you'd say, okay, you're doing fine now, but we know that you have these things, so whenever you do have one of those, we can shift you over here. I could understand that, but that point hasn't come yet.
Have you kind of looked into plans for the future if this gets worse and you need more, you start needing some help?
Not yet. My wife's 6 or 7 years younger than me. Don't tell her I can't think of how old she is. And she's a strong Minnesota girl, and she probably could take care of me for a pretty long time. And I wouldn't look forward to going into a nursing home, but if it comes to it, I guess.
We've discussed this a fair amount, and I mean, both of us, my wife more than me, really want me to be at home as long as possible, and I think that's great. And we're doing things and making plans to make sure that it's safe and that I can be home as long as possible. And I think that everything we're doing everything that is appropriate to accomplish that. One of the nice things is I don't know that I'm going to, you know, go at this rate downhill. I might go like this, and then. So we have no idea. I'm hoping for a nice long time like this. So any plans that we make now would be highly premature. And I wasn't sure about that for a while, but now I understand completely why that is. And so from my perspective, the important thing is not so much where I'll be, but where we'll be. And then we'll find a place for me or some other solution.
Are you worried about the future?
Not as long as I have Bill around. I'd worry about it. If he wasn't around, I know I'd end up in a nursing home.
Now, I don't think I've hit the stage yet where, you know, I'm going to be a problem. I don't think I am a problem right now, except maybe asking the same question, you know, more times than you should. But otherwise, you know, down the road, I can see, I don't think I'll ever become angry or dangerous. I just can't see that happening. But if that happens, I'll go to assisted living. And she can still ride over in the morning and have breakfast with me and dinner with me or lunch with me or whatever. But I'm hoping that time, I hope I die first before that happens.
I really haven't thought much of that. But I mean, in a quiet moment, and then I'm fortunate that I can get it to pass, I am very concerned. You know, will I be a bigger liability? How is Linda going to handle me? Will I have to wind up in a facility? It's scary. I know I'm not going to get any better. And once you don't have to accept that, but once you realize that's the disease, I think you can handle, what I call erosion better than if you had no awareness. Like if you caught me the day somebody said I have Alzheimer's, that would have been a very much of a trial in my life. After you told me what it was, because I wouldn't have known.
There's some things I definitely want to do or wanted to do, and so we are. I mean, I always wanted to go on a cruise to the Panama Canal. So rather than wait, we just went ahead and did that. And it was a lot of fun. It was neat to see. And so there are things like that. There's things that I like to do because we've got kids, 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. And so I'm just hoping to be able to see all sorts of things with them. But time will tell.